Welcome to episode 2 of the Vintage Booth Pro podcast, streaming on all podcast platforms and YouTube. So, I'm going to talk to you today about two booths. Both booths have the same inventory, same quality, same pricing, same display skills. One booth does $2,000 a month in sales, the other booth does $400 a month. Same seller, same product, same effort. 5 times the difference in revenue. So, what's the difference? The first booth is in a thriving antique mall on a busy highway with great visibility, strong foot traffic, and a reputation that draws customers from 3 counties away. The second booth is in a struggling mall tucked behind a strip mall with a parking lot that's always empty and an owner who stopped marketing the place 2 years ago. I've seen this exact scenario play out dozens of times in my community. Talented, hardworking booth owners who do everything right but can't make sales because they chose the wrong mall. And I've seen average booth owners with mediocre displays absolutely crush it because they got lucky and they landed in the right location. Location is not everything in this business, but it's close. I'd say location probably counts for 60 to 70% of your success, especially in the first year. You can overcome a bad location with exceptional inventory and displays, but why would you want to fight that uphill battle? You should just pick the right spot from the beginning. And so today we're going to talk about how to evaluate an antique mall before you sign a lease. I'm going to give you the questions to ask, the red flags to watch for, and the checklist I used when I started my vintage booth journey. By the end of this video, you're going to know more about evaluating antique malls than people who've been in this business for years. If we haven't met yet, I'm Crystal with Vintage Booth Pro. I've been running my vintage booth for over 4 years, and I lead a community of over 27,000 vintage booth owners over on Facebook. I've personally toured several antique malls. I love visiting them when I travel. I've only had a booth in one location, and I really did a lot of research before I started my vintage booth journey. But I've heard hundreds of stories about booth owners about what makes them all great and what makes it a disaster. So let me share the stories I've learned. So starting with the fundamentals, what actually makes an antique mall successful? There's really 5 factors that determine whether a mall is going to be a good location for your booth. Factor 1, external visibility and accessibility. Can people see it from the road? Is it easy to find? Is it easy to get to? Is there adequate parking? Factor 2, foot traffic. How many people walk through the mall on a regular basis? A beautiful mall with no customers is worthless. Factor 3, mall management and marketing. Is someone actively working to bring customers in? Is the mall clean and well maintained? Does management care about the success of their vendors? Factor 4, customer demographics. Who shops here? Are they buyers or browsers? Do they have money to spend? Are they looking for what you sell? Factor 5, vendor community and booth quality. What do other booths look like? Is this a mall full of quality vendors, or is it a dumping ground for junk? You need all 5 of these factors working in your favor. A mall can be strong in 4 areas, weak in one, and that one weakness can tank your sales. So let's go through each of these in detail. So talking about external visibility and accessibility first, because this is something you can evaluate before you even walk through the door. When you're driving to an antique mall for the first time, pretend you're a customer who's never been there. Ask yourself these questions. Could I find this place if I didn't have GPS? Is there signage on the main road? Can I see the building from the street? Is the mall hidden behind other businesses, tucked into an industrial park, or requires you to know exactly where you're going? Then that's a problem. Impulse traffic matters. You want people to drive by and think, oh, an antique mall, let's stop. What's the parking situation? Is there a dedicated lot? Is it big enough? Is it a gravel nightmare with potholes? I know parking really sounds minor, but it could be a really big thing. If you drive into a place and it looks sketchy from the parking lot, I don't know about you, but I'm turning around and not spending my time there. So what's the surrounding area like? Is this mall in a shopping district where people are already in the buyer mind? Is it near other complementary businesses like home decor stores, furniture shops, or boutiques? Or is it in an isolated area where nobody goes unless they're specifically seeking it out? What's the road traffic like? Is this on a busy highway or a main street where thousands of cars pass by every day? Or is it on a back road that only locals know about? High visibility locations on busy highways have major advantages. Is it easy to access? Can you turn left into the parking lot, or do you have to go past and make a U turn? Is there a traffic light nearby? These small friction points matter more than you think. Every obstacle between a potential customer and your booth is a reason for them to keep driving. So here's a quick test to use. You can park down the street close to the antique mall you're considering and just watch for 15 minutes. How many cars pull into the lot? How many people walk in? You can learn a lot just by observing. And that's exactly what I did when I first started my vintage booth journey. There were 3 in town, and I visited each one. Didn't go in, just drove by them, and I finally chose the one that was closest to the highway and had the most foot traffic. But you really have to put that time in before you decide. So now let's talk about foot traffic, because this is the lifeblood of any retail business. The single most important question you can ask a mall owner or manager is, how many customers come through the mall in an average week or an average month? Some malls track this data carefully. They have door counters and can tell you exactly how many people walked in. Other malls have no idea. And if they can't give you foot traffic numbers, it's not really a red flag. It's just really nice to know as you are evaluating. It could mean that they don't have a lot of customers and don't want to admit it, or they're just not very sophisticated and don't track that information. So, what is good foot traffic information? It depends on the size of the mall, but here are some rough benchmarks. For a small mall with under 50 vendors, you'll want to see at least 500 to 1,000 visitors per month. For a medium mall with 50 to 150 vendors, you want 1,500 to 4,000 visitors per month. For a large mall with over 150 vendors, you want 5,000 or more visitors per month. So those numbers seem high, but remember, not everyone who walks through the door is going to visit your booth, and not everyone is going to buy something from your booth. You need volume to generate sales. Here's another way to think about it. If your mall has 100 visitors, 100 vendors, and 2,000 visitors per month, that's an average of 20 potential customers per vendor per month. If your conversion rate is 10%, that's only 2 sales per month, and that is not enough. But if a mall has 100 vendors and visitors per month, that's 100 potential customers per vendor per month. At a 10% conversion rate, that's 10 sales per month. Much better. Of course, foot traffic is not evenly distributed. The booths near the entrance get more traffic than the booths in the back. And we'll talk about booth placement within the mall later. But the overall mall traffic sets the ceiling for what's possible. So if the mall won't give you the numbers on foot traffic, it is still possible to evaluate that. So you visit the mall multiple times on different days at different times. Go on a Saturday afternoon, which should be the busiest time. Go on a Tuesday morning, which should be fairly slow. Go on a holiday weekend if you can. Count how many customers you see. Watch how full the parking lot is. Talk to other vendors if you can, and ask them how traffic has been. If you visit a mall on a Saturday afternoon and there are only 3 cars in the parking lot and you see 2 customers in 30 minutes, that tells you everything you need to know. Run. If you visit and the parking lot is packed and there's a line at the checkout counter and you're constantly having to step over other shoppers or step around other shoppers, that's a great sign. This is a mall with traffic. So let's move on to mall management and marketing, because this is where a lot of people get burned. The quality of mall management can make or break your experience as a vendor. A great manager can turn a mediocre location into a thriving mall, and a terrible manager can destroy a mall that has everything else going for it. Here's what good management looks like. Number 1, the mall is clean and well maintained. The floors are swept, the bathrooms are clean, burned out light bulbs get replaced, trash doesn't pile up. If management can't be bothered to keep the basics in order, what else are they neglecting? Number 2, there's active marketing happening. Ask the manager, what do you do to bring customers in? Do they run Facebook ads? Do they have an email list? Do they do events? Do they partner with local tourism boards? Do they have a website that's actually updated? All that does zero marketing is a mall that's slowly dying. Even in a great location, you need to actively attract customers. If the manager's answer to what's your marketing strategy is a blank stare or, yeah, we're on Facebook, that's a red flag. 3, management is responsive and communicative. When vendors have issues, do they get addressed? Is there a way to contact management? Do they return calls and emails? Ask other vendors about their experience with management. You'll hear the truth, trust me. Number 4, the mall has a clear vision and standards. Good malls curate their vendors. They don't just rent space to anyone with a checkbook. They want quality booths that reflect well on the overall mall. Vendors whose inventory doesn't fit or ask vendors to improve their displays. This might sound like a negative, but it's actually a positive. It means management cares about the customer experience. Number 5, there's a sense of community among the vendors. Good management fosters relationship between vendors. They might host vendor events, have a Facebook group just for vendors, or somehow facilitate communication. A mall where vendors know and support each other is a mall where everyone does better. Now, here's what bad management looks like. Number 1, the mall looks tired and neglected. Dirty floors, flickering lights, cluttered common areas, outdated signage. If the mall looks like nobody cares, customers won't care either. Number 2, there's been no marketing in years. No social media presence, no events, no outreach. The mall is just sitting there hoping customers will magically appear. Number 3, vendor turnover is high. If you notice a lot of empty booths or if the manager mentions that booths become available frequently, ask why. Some turnover is normal, but if vendors are leaving constantly, there's a reason. Number 4, management is absent or unresponsive. You can't get answers to basic questions. Issues don't get resolved. The manager seems overwhelmed or checked out. Number 5, the mall accepts anyone and everyone. Booths are junk, prices are all over the place, and the overall impression is chaos rather than curation. One question I always ask, how long have your longest tenured vendors been here? If the answer is, we have vendors who have been here 10, 15 years, that's a great sign. It means that vendors are successful enough to stay. If the answer is, our oldest vendor has been here 8 months, that's kind of a red flag. So next, let's talk about customer demographics, because not all foot traffic is created equal. You want to understand who shops at this mall. Are they buyers or browsers? What's their budget? What are they looking for? Here's how to figure this out. Look at the cars in the parking lot. I know this sounds strange and a little judgy, but it tells you a lot. Are you seeing newer cars, older cars, luxury vehicles, practical vehicles? The cars tell you something about the economic demographics of the customer base. So look at the price points in the other booths. What are the average prices of items? Are they high ticket items that appear to be selling, or is everything priced under $20? If the entire mall is discount price, that tells you something about what customers expect and what they're willing to pay. Look at what's selling. Many booths have sold tags, or you could see empty spaces where items used to be. What categories seem to move? If every booth has furniture with sold tags, furniture sells well here. If the smalls and glassware net seems to never move, that tells you something too. Ask the manager about their customer base. Where do customers come from? Are they local or do they drive from out of town? What do they tend to buy? A good manager knows their customers. So consider the surrounding demographics. Is this mall in an affluent suburb, a middle-class neighborhood, or an economically depressed area? Are you near tourist attractions that bring in visitors with money to spend? Is this a retirement community where residents are actually downsizing rather than buying? Geography matters. So here's a scenario I've seen play out. A vendor opens a booth full of high-end mid-century modern furniture in a mall located in a rural area with lower incomes. Their pieces are beautiful and priced fairly for what they are, but they can't sell anything because the customer base can't afford $2,000 dresses. Meanwhile, the vendor down the road can't keep $10 farmhouse items in stock. So that's a little bit of a stretch on a story, but a vendor that was in my mall originally I followed on Facebook, and I was so upset to see that they were leaving, but they moved closer to Atlanta and their booth is thriving because of the demographics. You have to match your inventory to your customer base, or you have to find a mall whose customer base matches your inventory. Either approach works, but you have to be intentional about it. Now, let's discuss vendor community and booth quality because the other vendors in your mall affect your success more than you might think. When you walk through a mall, you're evaluating the competition, but you're also evaluating your potential neighbors. And in retail, good neighbors help everyone. So here's what I mean. When a mall has consistently high quality booths with great displays, attractive inventory, and fair prices, it creates a positive impression on customers. They think, this is a nice place. I want to shop here again. I'll be back. That benefits everyone. When a mall has low quality booths with junky inventory, bad displays, and ridiculous prices, it creates a negative impression. Customers think this is a dump and nothing good here. I'm never coming back. That hurts everyone, including you. So, as you tour a mall, ask yourself, would I be proud to have my booth here? Do other booths make me want to shop or do they make me want to leave? Look at the overall quality level. Are displays attractive and well maintained? Is inventory clean and well presented? Are prices reasonable and clearly marked? Or do booths look like garage sales? Is merchandise dusty and neglected? Are prices either absurdly high or missing entirely? Look for variety. A good mall has a mix of styles and categories, some vintage, some antique, some farmhouse, some mid-century, some industrial. This variety gives customers reasons to explore the whole mall and brings in different types of shoppers. Look for booth occupancy. How many booths are empty? Some vacancy is normal because there's always turnover, and booth owners tend to jump from location to location within a store. If 30% of the mall is empty, that is a serious warning sign. It means vendors are leaving faster than they're being replaced. Talk to other vendors if you can. Ask them how business has been. Ask them how long they've been here. Ask them what they like and what they don't like about the mall. Vendors will usually be very honest with you, especially if you're not going to be direct competition. Now, let's get into the practical stuff. What questions to ask before you sign a lease? I'm going to give you a list of questions you should ask the mall manager or owner before you commit to anything. Some of these might seem obvious, but I'm constantly amazed by how many people sign leases without getting answers to their questions. Question 1, what is the total monthly cost? That means rent plus any additional fees, commissions on sales, credit card processing fees, advertising fees, association fees, insurance requirements. Get the complete number, not just the rent. Question 2, what are the lease terms? How long is the lease? Month to month? 6 months? A year? What's the notice period if you want to leave? What's the penalty for breaking the lease early? My recommendation is try to start with a month-to-month lease or short-term lease of 3 to 6 months. Most that I've seen start at 6 months and then move to month, but you want the flexibility to leave if the mall isn't working out. Some malls require longer commitments, especially for prime locations, but try to negotiate for flexibility when you're new. Question 3, what's included in the rent? Do you provide display fixtures, lighting, shelving, access to a furniture dolly, access to plugs for lighting, Wi-Fi, climate control? Understand what you're getting and what you'll need to provide yourself. Question 4, what are the mall hours and when can I access my booth? When is the mall open to customers? When can vendors access their booths for restocking? Some malls have limited vendor hours, which can be a logistical challenge. Question 5, how does the checkout process work? Do you handle your own sales or do customers pay at a central checkout? If there's a central checkout, how do you get paid? Weekly, biweekly, monthly? Is there a minimum threshold before you get paid? Question 6, how do you track and report sales? Can you see your sales daily, weekly? Is there an online portal? Do you get detailed reports showing which items sold? Understanding your data is crucial for managing your business. Question 7, what's your policy on holds and layaways? Can your customers put items on hold? Is there a layaway program? What happens if a customer holds something and never comes back? Who is responsible for tracking this? Question 8, what marketing does the mall do? I already mentioned this, but get specifics. How much is the marketing budget? What channels do they use? How often do they post on social media? Do they do events? Do they send emails to customers? Question 9, how many vendors do you currently have and what's your typical occupancy rate? A mall that's 95% occupied is doing something right. A mall that's 60% occupied has problems. Question 10. How many customers visit per month? We already discussed this, but ask directly. If they don't know or won't say, that's information too. Question 11. Can I see a sample lease before I commit? Never sign anything on your first visit. Take the lease, read it carefully, and look for anything unexpected. Are there automatic renewal clauses? What are the conditions under which under which they can raise your rent? What are the grounds for termination? Question 12. Can I talk to a few of your current vendors? A confident manager will say yes to this. They'll probably even walk you to a vendor that's at the store when you're there. A manager who doesn't want you talking to vendors might be hiding something. Question 13. What are the rules about displays, signage, and merchandise? Are there restrictions on what you can sell? Are there display requirements? Can you use your own signage? Are there restrictions on lighting, furniture height, or booth modifications? Know the rules before you sign up. Question 14. What happens if I have a problem with my booth and need your help? Is there a manager on site? How do you report issues? How quickly do things get resolved? What's the process for handling damaged or stolen merchandise? Write all these questions down and bring them with you when you tour a mall. Don't be embarrassed about asking a lot of questions. This is a business decision, and any good manager will respect a vendor who does their due diligence. Now, let's talk about booth placement within the mall, because where your booth is located inside the mall matters almost as much as which mall you choose. Not all booth locations are equal. Some spots get tons of traffic, other spots are dead zones where customers rarely venture. You want to get the best location you can get, and you need to understand what makes a location good or bad. Here's what makes a location valuable. Number one, near the entrance. The closer you are to the door, the more traffic you'll get. Customers are fresh when they walk in, and they haven't spent their budget yet, and so they're excited to shop. Number two, the main pathway. Most malls have a primary traffic flow, a main aisle that customers naturally walk through. Booths along this main path get more exposure than booths on the side aisles or in the back corners. Number three, near the checkout. Customers have to go to checkout to pay for their purchases. Booths near checkout get seen by every buying customer on their way in and out. Number four, at intersections or corners. Booths where aisles meet have visibility from multiple directions. Customers can see your booth from more angles, which increases the chance they'll stop. Next is near complementary booths. If you sell vintage kitchenware, being near other kitchen and dining vendors can be beneficial. Customers interested in that category will naturally gravitate to that area. Now, here's what makes a booth less valuable. In the back corner, the far corners of the mall, is where foot traffic goes to die. Some customers never make it that far. They get tired. They've spent all their money, or they just run out of time. On a dead-end aisle, if an aisle doesn't lead anywhere, customers have no reason to walk down it. They'll peek down, see nothing compelling, and turn around. If a mall has multiple levels, the main level almost always gets the most traffic. Upper or lower levels require extra effort to reach, and many customers just don't bother. Okay, near the restrooms or in oddly shaped spaces. These locations are functional, not promotional. Customers are passing through, not shopping. And weirdly shaped booths are harder to display effectively. Being nearby low quality booths. If your neighbors have junky, neglected booths, customers will quickly walk past that entire area. Your great booth suffers by association. Now, here's the reality. As a new vendor, you probably won't get the best location in the mall from the very beginning. Those prime spots are usually occupied by established vendors who've been there for years. You'll likely be offered whatever's available, which might be a less than ideal spot. But that's okay. A less than perfect location in a great mall is still better than a location in a terrible mall. And if you do well and have a great relationship with the store owner and let them know your intentions to move to a better location, you can often negotiate for a better spot later when one becomes available. And it typically will. But you should ask about your location during lease negotiation. Ask which booths are available. Ask if you can see them. Ask about the traffic patterns in different areas of the mall. Ask if there's a wait list for better locations and how you get on it. Some vendors will even negotiate move clauses into their leases, which guarantee them first right of refusal when a better spot opens up. It doesn't hurt to ask. And at my mall, they Always announce it to current vendors before they bring it to their wait list. So let me give you my red flags checklist, the warning signs that should make you think twice before signing a lease. Red flag, more than 25% of the booths are empty. Some vacancy is normal, but a lot of empty booths means vendors are leaving and not being replaced. That's a sign of deeper problems. Red flag, the mall is dirty or poorly maintained. If they can't keep the floors clean, how are they going to market the mall or resolve vendor issues? Red flag, you can't get straight answers to basic questions. If the manager is evasive about foot traffic, fees, or lease terms, they're probably hiding something. Red flag, the manager badmouths other vendors. Unprofessional management creates toxic environments. If they're talking badly about their own vendors, run. Red flag, the lease has scary clauses that you can't negotiate. Long lock-in periods, automatic rent increases, vague termination conditions. If the lease seems designed to trap you, it probably is. Red flag, other vendors are unhappy and unwilling to tell you about it. Red flag. Other vendors are unhappy and very willing to tell you about it. Vendors usually don't complain to strangers unless things are really bad. If multiple vendors tell you to stay away, listen to them. Red flag. The mall has been for sale for a long time. Ownership transitions create uncertainty. A new owner might raise rent, change policies, or close the mall entirely. Red flag. There's no evidence of recent marketing. Dead social media pages, outdated websites, no events on the calendar. A mall that stopped marketing is a mall that's given up. Red flag. The parking lot is empty on a Saturday. If people aren't coming in on the busiest shopping day of the week, when are they coming? Red flag. Your gut tells you something is wrong. Trust your instincts. If something feels off during your visit, it probably is. So let me talk about negotiating your lease, because many people don't realize that booth leases are often negotiable. Not everything is negotiable at every mall, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Here are things that you might be able to negotiate. Rent, especially for less desirable locations. If a booth has been empty for months, the mall might accept a lower rent just to get someone in there. Lease length. They might offer a month-to-month option, even if they usually require longer commitments. First month free or discounted. Some malls offer this to new vendors. It gives you time to set up and get established without the pressure of making rent from day one. Commission rates. If the standard is 10%, maybe you can get 8%. Location. If you want a specific booth that's available, ask for it. Setup time. You might be able to get a few days of access before your lease officially starts to set up your booth. Move clause. The right to move to a better location when one becomes available. The worst they can say is no. If you don't ask, the answer is definitely no. Let me give you my actual process for evaluating a mall step by step. Step 1, online research. Before I visit in person, I look them all up online. Do they have a website? Is it updated? What do their social media pages look like? Are there reviews on Facebook or Google? What did the reviews say? This gives me a preliminary sense of whether the mall is worth visiting. Step 2, drive-by reconnaissance. I drive by the mall but don't go in yet. I observe the location, the parking lot, the signage, the surrounding area. I sit in my car for 10 to 15 minutes and watch how many customers come and go. Step 3, anonymous customer visit. I go in as a shopper, not as a vendor. I walk the entire mall, note the quality of the booths, the variety of inventory, the cleanliness, the atmosphere. I see how many customers are there. I might even make a small purchase to observe the checkout process. Step 4, talk to other vendors. If I can strike up a natural conversation with vendors without being weird about it, I ask how business has been. People love to talk about their booths. Step 5, formal manager meeting. If the mall passed my first 4 steps, I schedule a meeting with the manager. I bring my list of questions. I ask about available booths and get a tour of the options. Step 6, take the lease home and review it carefully. Don't sign anything on the spot. Read every word and look up anything you may not understand. Make sure there are no surprises. Step 7, make a decision. Based on everything I've learned, I decide whether this mall is worth committing to. The process takes time. It might involve multiple visits over several weeks, but choosing the right mall is one of the most important decisions you'll make in this business. It's worth doing it right. So let me wrap up with some perspective on how location fits into your overall strategy. The right location won't save bad inventory, but the wrong location will kill good inventory. You need both. A great mall with terrible merchandise isn't going to work, but amazing merchandise in a dead mall isn't going to work either. If you're just starting out, I'd rather see you wait an extra month or two to find the right mall than rush into a bad situation because you're excited to get started. Patience now saves you money and heartache later. And remember, your first mall doesn't have to be your forever mall. Many successful booth owners started in an okay location, built up their inventory and skills, and moved to a better mall once they had more options and more leverage. The goal is to set yourself up for the best possible chance of success. Location is a huge part of that equation. So, I have a free download for you that I think is going to save you a lot of time and help you make a smart decision. It's my Antique Mall Tour Checklist and Evaluation Scorecard. All it is a printable PDF that you can bring with you when you tour a mall. It includes all the questions to ask, all the things to observe, and a scoring system so you can objectively compare multiple malls. The link is in the description below, and it's completely free. In my next video, I'm going to walk you through how much it really costs to start a vintage booth. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.